because our deepest wounds often reveal our greatest purpose. All right. Welcome to the Court of Connection. Your host, Danielle Cobb, is here with a very special guest, Claire Bays. I'm elated to have you here on the show today, Bays. Thank you. Bays. I'm gonna call you Bays.
That's fine. Whatever works. It'll be Bays for now.
Bays for now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a delight to have you. You are just such I remember the first time I met you and I was like, she is a bright light. Like, she just moves through the world and shines and is her own person and just so anchored in your true self. So I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you very much. And definitely that's funny because you say bright light. And I think back to whenever we met and I'm like, I wonder if that light was a little bit like, hey, could you sit down for a second? Because sometimes it can be a lot. But also that's just, it is what it is.
Okay. That's it.
But I will say on the flip side from the jump with you, I always saw someone who was really deeply spiritually connected in their own way. Mm-hmm. And you've always been really grounded. And like, I've always felt like if I wanted to talk about anything, you'd be a really safe place to do so, mm-hmm. and a really wise place to do so. So mm-hmm. Anyway.
Well, thank you. And you are such an empowering woman. I just want to speak to that for a second. The way that you encourage and push people beyond their edges, especially in the physical realm, it's inspiring, you know? Yeah. And you're good at what you do, Miss MC. So
I love it.
I know. It's natural. So Claire, how are you showing up to this conversation today?
Oh, how am I showing up? Open. Literally just open to wherever you want to take it, wherever it goes. Very open-minded. I'm excited to be here and spend time with you.
Yes, but same.
Yeah.
Same.
What about you?
How am I? Oh, she's turning it back. Okay.
I'm curious.
I'm showing up to this conversation also just like, let's see what happens. You know, obviously I have a personal relationship with you. Haven't seen you in a while. There's a few topics I want to hit and touch that I think will be really fruitful. And so I'm just kind of open to seeing what God does.
Yeah. He be doing things.
He be doing things, girl. Yes. So if someone asks you, Claire, what do you do? Who are you? What do you say? Because you're a girl of many, you're a variety.
I wear a lot of hats, apparently. They're very complimentary to one another, I feel. But when people report back to me, because of course I just hear it from others, like, you're really busy. And I think that the phrase that we have come to know and love in our recovery journeys of one day at a time has served me quite well. And so it all feels so one day at a time that when people are like, you're so busy. And I'm like, I am. I mean, you're right, I guess, but it feels peaceful even if there's a lot on the calendar. Mm-hmm. So anyway, what do I do? Who am I? Well, I am engaged to a professional wrestler, and that is super exciting to me. He is now at his WWE tryout this week, which is really exciting. Yeah. He started to turn his gaze towards professional wrestling. He's done a number of different things as an athlete in his lifetime. And this is the latest iteration. So he's been doing professional wrestling, like actually in matches, so on, for just over 1 year. And so this is really exciting. So anyway, I am his fiance and I'm super proud to get to be. I am also coming up on, I'm not there yet, so a little over 4.5 years sober. Yeah. And so I'll be 5 soon, but no, we're one day at a time. We're not there yet. So those are definitely key features of me. And that means that, you know, I found God a few years ago and my life got exponentially better and just keeps doing that. And that's really cool. And then professionally, I do wear a lot of hats. I get to MC CrossFit competitions frequently and all over the United States. And it's such a weird, wild thing. You literally just said something about to the effect of hyping people up. And I was just thinking, I figured I found a job where I could do that. That's cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, I get to do that. And then I also run community growth for a brand called WOD Prep, and that's WODPREP. WOD Prep within the CrossFit space. I am a level 3 certified CrossFit coach, which I only got that certification a few months ago. And that's like pretty hard to achieve. So it's really exciting. So, thank you. Yeah. It's a gnarly exam, and about 1% of CrossFit coaches make their way to that and like actually hold that accreditation. And so if you're not in that world, it kind of doesn't mean anything necessarily. You don't know, but if you are, it's I can't believe that I get to be a level 3, but here we are. So it's super cool. And so I do get to coach as well. And so I coach clients online and in person. And then part of that WOD prep job with the community and so on is I co-host a podcast there bi-weekly, or not bi-weekly, I guess twice a week, whatever the term for twice a week would be, where we do a live show on YouTube as well. So that's the majority of what happens in my day-to-day, week-to-week.
Exciting.
Life is-
take a moment to take that in. Like when you look at certain people's lives, you think, man, they're one of the lucky ones, right? Like they get to experience like the life of their dreams, right?
Yeah.
And I've been thinking a lot about that because I am stepping into that space of like really taking the reins of my life and being like, what do you want to do? You are one of the lucky ones. You get to go claim that, you know?
Totally.
So what I want to highlight is this would not be possible without recovery. So tell me, let's start there. Tell me who you were before recovery. Like, what was life like? What were you like? And then kind of the moment of waking up and how that changed.
Yeah. I actually don't reflect on this potentially enough. And so, or really, I guess, look deeply at it. Like I'm always aware that I feel as though I have lived 2 different lifetimes at this point. And that was, of course, the pivot point, because who I was prior to getting sober and who I get to be today, maybe there are some character traits that overlap, but life is so different. It's starkly different. And so as far as prior to recovery goes, I mean, I grew up in a small town in Oklahoma, and it was very normal where I lived for people to start drinking and doing other things at pretty young ages. And so I did that. And I drank from the very first time I drank. I was 13 and I blacked out, and I loved it. And it aligned perfectly with a time in my life where I was, going through puberty and was this awkward kid who wanted everyone's attention but didn't get much of it. And then I drank alcohol, and all of a sudden I was fun. And man, I liked that. And I was hitting puberty. And so all of a sudden, for the first time ever, boys talked to me. So it was just this perfect concoction. And I mean, I am an alcoholic in recovery, right? And so something about alcohol, literally, if I say the first time I drank, I blacked out, like that's a unique reaction to have. And I just remember it was this really cheap, it was Heaven Hill vodka. Yeah. And I just kept drinking straight out of the bottle until I don't remember. And I remember certain details, and I don't remember others of the evening, but I remember being like, that's what I'm going to do. That is so much fun. And so anyway, so then that just persisted through different seasons of my life, and I just continued on drinking. And of course, as I got further along, more trauma started to stack up, but I wasn't prepared to look at that or deal with it. And so I just shoved it all down. And of course, all of that discomfort that you feel as a result of experiences that you have when you overindulge, for most, certainly for me, I just tried to shove it all down and not talk about it and not look at it. And I just kept accumulating a trauma pile. But drinking was all I had known. And it was like a part of who I was. And it was also what everyone else around me was doing. I had created this ecosystem where that's what we did, So anyway, I get into my 20s. Of course, I start bartending immediately. And it just continued on where, sometimes things would go well and sometimes things would go really poorly. And you never knew if I was going to be able to have a couple drinks and go home, or if that wasn't going to happen. And that went on for 15 years. And then at the end of that, I just had already been for years knowing that my relationship with alcohol scared me. I could tell people that I had substance use issues, but I couldn't call myself, I didn't know what an alcoholic even was. So I couldn't call myself that. And I just knew that I scared myself a lot. And I hurt people and I hurt myself a lot. But without the tools to know what was going on, I'm a ticking time bomb after the last time, after whatever event occurs that shouldn't happen. I wake up remorseful, you name it, right? And then I'm like, that's never going to happen again. That's not me. That's not who I am. That's never going to happen again. And then boom, 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 time passes. I got to have a drink because this is how I deal with life. And so it's the narrative that you and I have certainly heard before of it starts out as fun and then it becomes fun with consequences. And by the end, it's just consequences. I fit the bill through and through. So by the end, it was all consequences. And so my grandmother had passed away and she was the most involved in my childhood. We were very, very close. And so when she passed away, I remember going home and I'm a doer, shocker, right? Comes as no surprise now. And so I did everything that following week that needed to be done, whether it's picking her up off the floor or writing the obituary or whatever it needed to be that needed to be done. And then once that was over, then I drove away from my hometown and I just said, I'm unwilling to feel. I've heard of grief before, but I'm not doing it. And so I attempted to outrun grief for the following 2 months and stayed really numb. And by then I was a real estate agent professionally at that time and had been for 5 years at that time. And so I kind of had a compartmentalized life by then where I would travel and behave in the way that I needed to, let the pressure off. And then I would return back home and try to keep it together. Right. Or I would allow myself in certain spaces where it was okay to be whatever I was going to be that way, and then try to compartmentalize that. I had already been a part of the fitness community for years at that point. And it was just kind of everybody knew like, well, Claire drinks and it gets kind of crazy for her, but I tried to compartmentalize that. And then eventually that just stopped working. And my trips kept getting longer. I managed to not be able to get home repeatedly when I meant to, and on the flights home, et cetera. And so my final hoorah, just a publicly humiliating event occurred. And so that happened, and all of a sudden my actions were broadcast all over online. And of course I wake up out of a blackout and how did I get here? Same song and dance. And it was very traumatic and I was terrified. But it was the first time that the right repercussion had happened where I was just desperate enough to go, I cannot do this anymore. I had already been desiring quitting and trying to take space from alcohol and all the different things that we try for years. I didn't want to be in the situation I was. I tried to pull a geographic. I tried to move to a different state to outrun myself, you name it. And anyway, that event occurred. And suddenly all these people that I thought respected me saw one of my darkest moments that had ever occurred. And that embarrassment for some reason was sufficient motivation for me to finally reach out to a friend and ask for help who had gotten sober, and I knew that she had. And so I called her and I said, I need help. And thankfully she got me plugged into a recovery community. And now that's already been almost 5 years. And so just an altogether different life. And I wish I had done it sooner. Of course, I'm sure we all do, but it is so it's weird to tell those stories. It's weird to walk through that time because I feel in my body a reaction to it of just like the amount of, I feel so sad for that version of me. I can't believe what she went through and put herself through. But I will say that was one of the other things with that was the first time where I looked at the situation I was in and realized like, I put myself here. As much as I was blacked out, my actions got me in this room, in this situation. And if I don't take these actions anymore, I don't have to be in these rooms. Right. So I have to stop taking these actions. And for me, that looked like stopping drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, for those of you that don't know Claire Mays, go find her on Instagram. She is a total fitness baddie and works her ass off in every way possible. But that's kind of what I want to lead this into is fitness played a role in your life leading up to getting sober. What did that look like at the time? Because it's very different now.
Yeah. Now it's my whole personality. Yes, for so many years. So I had always been just like obsessed with, fascinated with CrossFit for my whole adult life, right? So I actually did not play any sports growing up. I had no athletic background. And then whenever I was actually a teenager, I saw the CrossFit Games online, 2009, 2010. And I was like, it was the first, because I came from a small town in Oklahoma and I see these girls on these YouTube videos with like muscles and they're empowered. They're using them. They're they just look so incredible and they're moving so well. So I was so fascinated with it and I really wanted to do it. But there wasn't one where I lived and it freaked me out. And I thought that's for them, not for me, whatever.
Yeah.
So then in 2013, a CrossFit gym opened up in the town that I was living in. And I went there that month actually. But a lot, like the owners were former college athletes and military members and so on. And I just was like, they know what they're doing. I don't. They were so welcoming. They were great, but I was all in my head about it. So anyway, I would drive around the block and look in and like try to muster the courage and just drive past it and go home because I was so freaked out. I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I wanted to so bad. But then in 2016 is whenever I went back, joined and stayed. And so anyway, and I had already, by the way, in between those times, I had started going to like a Gold's Express and trying to do stuff on my own. So I had started doing some stuff, but anyway, and then, so mind you, so I get sober in 2021. So I start doing CrossFit consistently in 2016. And so, yes, fitness had already been a part of my life at that point for a while. But like I said, it was compartmentalized, right? And so I loved being a part of the community. And when I first started, I'd go maybe 3 days a week, and then I'd start to go maybe 4 days a week. And then by 2021, I'm there 5-6 days a week. And so I was just your everyday CrossFit class taker, whatever. And then by 2020 was actually whenever someone was like, hey, what if you actually believed in yourself? Because I always was like, I'll never be, they're the athletes. I'll never do the workouts RX as prescribed is what we call it in CrossFit for the higher level stuff. Right. And so I was like, I'll never do any of that, whatever. And then finally the right person said to me, like, why? Why do you say that makes no sense? Imagine if you actually believed that you could. So I actually started to get better at it before I got sober.
Yeah.
Of course, the curve for getting better after I got sober, it went up faster.
Of course.
But yeah, so I
what a freaking struggle that must have been to go. Okay, because let me interject real quick and tell you that I took one CrossFit class in my life and I was like, I fucking hate this. This is this is so intense.
Okay, wait, can I make it up to you? Will you do one with me?
I would 100% do one. Yeah.
Okay,
absolutely. Cool. I'm open to anything. This was also like pre me doing like any kind of bodybuilding or anything. So like it was the beginning of my fitness journey, probably not the best starting point for someone who was like overweight and, like had no clue what to do.
Yes. And you never know, like if, the reality is like if you weren't scaled appropriately, meaning like I don't know the details of that specific situation, but like the idea is that someone comes in and we get a good feel for their preparedness, not just physically, but like psychologically. And then we meet them as a coach to the best of our ability where they are and try to give them the appropriate dose of the workout that like isn't going to leave them broken or whatever. But that being said, at the end of the day, intensity is a key component to CrossFit. So if you don't want to work out with intensity, you will not like it.
Well, I'm a totally different person today. So
totally.
I would love to take you up on that. Like, let's do a CrossFit workout. Am I going to fall in love with CrossFit? I don't know.
That'd be so cool. Man, it is so crazy. It's just everything shifts. Like fitness being about shrinking your waist and whatever, it just goes out the window with CrossFit. And not that you don't get a smaller waist in it because you usually do. Because training with intensity is highly effective. But it becomes all about so many different things. And so as a woman, the empowerment through CrossFit, they don't make better. Yeah, there's the dope I want today.
Yes. Well, if I could my goal has always been, I'm going to do a pull-up.
Yeah.
Here's the truth. Like, so when I went on my gym journey, I too had never stepped foot in an actual gym before. I started to play around with the idea. I worked my way into it. At the time, I was extremely overweight and I was just like tired of being tired,
Yes.
So I started on this journey and I taught myself everything, which in some ways it was cool. In other ways, like it would have been helpful to have somebody guiding me. You know what I mean? Because that ended up leading to a massive injury, as you know.
Yes.
Because I didn't know it, but my shoulder was naturally turning in. And over time, training with that level of intensity and moving as much weight as I was moving, it messed me up. And so anyways, the point of that is it would have been really probably a much different experience had I been open to having a coach, Yeah. So who knows, maybe this next phase of life, I'm like, maybe I want to push myself a little bit and try something different,
Yeah.
I'm open.
Oh my gosh. I think, I don't know. I'd love to see if you love it. Cause it definitely, if you get a coach that that really coaches you,
Uh-huh.
they will change your life for the better.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I understand too, personal training. I literally do personal training. One-on-one is expensive, especially in a place like Austin.
Right.
So that's kind of also the hack of CrossFit. You get a good CrossFit coach and you're paying for the membership and you get the coach. So all of a sudden that cost of whatever that membership at the gym is suddenly looks a hell of a lot more attractive because they're taking care of the details for you. But anyway, not to come and pitch it, but I can't help it because it's life. Yeah.
It's your passion. I love that. I love talking to people about what they're passionate about because you feel it. You know what I mean? It's an experience just having that conversation with them.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Okay. So you'd been kind of led to CrossFit naturally. You get sober and then your whole world changes, obviously. And your investment in your health and wellness was, taken to another level.
Yes.
I want to talk a little bit about, so I know that you were living in a place that had mold for a while and you had no idea, right?
Yep.
And ended up developing this autoimmune. How did navigating the grief around your body working against you, what was that experience like?
I'm still in it. I mean, the truth is I'm over 2 years into my first symptoms at this point, because those were January of 2024 was my very first symptoms. Is that right? 2024? Yeah, I was living there in 2023, 2024. Yep. So it's been eye-opening thanks to having God in my life today and relying on God and having a relationship with God. Through this entire thing, it has been incredibly challenging, but I've felt some strange sense of peace through the whole thing. That doesn't mean I haven't shed many tears over it and had a hard time because I've been sick plenty. But I've known that there's purpose baked into it. And because of now what we know from getting to use our stories from what we've been through with our substance use is I've kind of taken and applied that same idea of knowing that this is the next iteration of my testimony. And as I am someone who is a fitness professional, chronic disease is in some way, shape, or form touches everyone, just like alcoholism does. Somebody that you love has a problem, right? And so honestly, it's the same. And so whether it's an autoimmune disease, which is becoming ridiculously common, or it's even just cancer or heart disease, I say just as if that's light. But there, so the amount of education I've had to dive into about chronic illness has been extensive. And in that way, I've been actually really grateful for the experience, as hard as it's been, knowing that now not only can I relate to when people are literally sick every day, like I know what that feels like. But then on top of that, I've been so desperate to not accept it and to work my way out of it, if you will, and find the right tools so I can use that to help people too. So it's been strange. Yeah, it's been really hard. And certainly, when it first started to happen, it was very confusing because all the normal things that work weren't working anymore.
Yeah.
As I was, I've had hives more days than not for over 2 years now. And that includes today. You can actually see one. I don't know. It's kind of under my tattoos, so I'm not sure if you can, but there is one right there. Anyway, so I still am actually navigating that right now because my body doesn't, stress in any form, and it just kind of kicks out this histamine response. And we're still working through getting my immune system and my gut and my nervous system all back to a good place, and that's a journey to be on. But mold specifically is the thing that made me, that kicked the bucket over as far as the stress bucket goes. I was living in a mold infested apartment, like she said. And so, or like you said, sorry, I'm like talking to them, like used to being on the live show where they're here. And so, yeah. That's funny. Anyway, like you said, sorry.
No.
And yes. And so mycotoxins, I was living in heavy volumes of contained mycotoxins. Certain ones are far more damaging to us than others. And in general, mold is in the world, right? But when you are in an environment where they are really, really there's a lot of volume of them and you're not able to escape it, like living in it, that can create some real problems for a human. And in fact, I will say, as far as a resource goes for that, Chris Williamson actually did a recent video, Modern Wisdom. That's like a pretty well-known, it's the top 10 podcast globally.
I just posted his with Joe Hudson. I love his podcast.
Yeah. And so he actually was also living in mold at the same time that I was. And obviously somewhere else, we've never spoken about it, but nonetheless, he's created some content around it. And of course, his resources for content creation are extensive, and his resources for functional medicine. And so I would encourage people who are curious about what mold does to someone he actually also had a conversation. I know that he just did one with Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, and that's another great resource. They talk about chronic illness, but they certainly address environmental toxins, and mold is one of them, because it'll make somebody sick and they have no idea why, right? And so I'm so grateful that after 6 months of decline, and by the end of that 6 months while I was still living there, it was to the point where I would go to work every single day. I couldn't even make it 5 minutes before I felt like I was going to pass out. I was so and lightheaded. Light was overwhelming. Sound was overwhelming. I would go lay down in between my clients every single day. I would just lay down in the dark and try to calm back down. I constantly, because my nervous system was totally overloaded. And so it also created anxiety, not something I've previously dealt with, but to the point where, my brain would tell me that I was going to die, like all the time over anything. And these thoughts would come up, I don't know how many times per day, but frequently. And so I just have to combat them and be like, you're okay. Something's wrong, but you're okay. And so that was really tough. And I developed what they labeled for me as POTS disease, one of the autoimmunes, and then early stage rheumatoid arthritis. Some of my joints started to have problems, but thankfully I found the mold. And as soon as I discovered it, I immediately knew. And by then I had had hives for 6 months that were really nasty. And I'd never had hives before in my life. And so I had also gained maybe 15 pounds. Maybe more. And so for my frame, that's pretty noticeable. And anyway, and of course I was doing a calorie deficit because historically that had worked for me. That was not working. It didn't matter what I did. It wasn't working. I was continuing to just get more and more and more inflamed because my body's immune system was on the fritz. So it's just been a really long journey of navigating what happened to all the systems in my body and how to help them heal. And certainly nutrition is paramount in that, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for sharing that. I know that's been a tough journey. So can you speak a little bit to how you've had to take care of yourself emotionally through that process, like of just feeling defeated at moments?
I don't know how I would do anything in life without God at the center of it all. Because I can always just take it all to him, and somehow, some way, he makes it okay. I mean, I know that that's pretty abstract, but it's also the most effective thing I've ever known.
Yeah.
And so that looks as simple as the first recommendation I was given when I got sober: get on your knees and pray every day.
Yeah.
So I still get on my knees and pray every day. And it's just, I don't have to be I'm not in charge. I don't have to be in control. I couldn't if I wanted to anyway, But yeah, so I would say I think that definitely for taking care of oneself emotionally, there are potentially other resources I could do a better job of enlisting. But I think that the biggest thing I'm most proud of is I'm not self-reliant with any of this anymore. I used to just try to quietly deal with everything and take it all on myself and try to figure it all out. And the longer I've gotten to be sober and just be taught how to use some different tools, the longer I'm like, first stop, God. Next stop, tell somebody the truth. Next stop, ask for help. Yeah. You'll get it. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And through that, I don't know, there's just, even when those emotions come up and the tears come up, like I weirdly, like, I'm okay with that. If I need to cry about this today, that's okay. Yeah. We're going to get back up. We're going to find a new solution. And yet again, we know I'm a fitness obsessed person, but like, I don't let myself sit still. I don't let the walls get closer to me. I'm okay with if I need to pick up the resource of calling somebody else. I'm okay with if I need to pick up the resource of doing an extra session, or whatever that looks like. So
yeah,
it's been okay.
Yeah. It is wild how there's been so many moments in my life where I've been back against the wall, just feeling defeated and feeling like, because there have been why moments for me, like, why is this happening, right? Like, I think it's the human condition to feel to slip into that space of like, why is this happening? I work so hard. I'm sober. I'm this and that. And that came up when I had my eating disorder was like full force. And I just remember being so pissed off at God because I needed someone to blame. It was like, and God was the thing that I felt like I could blame at the time. I'm just like, what is happening? And I've said this before, but now it's honestly been the greatest gift, because I can't tell you how many women have come to me and be like, and have been like, how did you move through this? Like, how did you overcome this? Like, I feel like I'm never going to be out of this trap,
Yep.
And so I know that's, if it hasn't already, I know that's going to be a huge part of how you get to help people too.
Totally.
That experience. Yeah,
absolutely. And when somebody's chronically ill, I mean, that kind of, it's the same with the recovery stuff. Or I say that even with, eating disorders, people don't make it through those.
Yeah.
People don't make it through chronic illness. People don't make it through alcoholism.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been given the gift that you can just be that thing that somebody can just cling to and can just get them in a better direction, right? It's always all still entirely their choice to do something or not, right? But being able to, even just like with the girl that calls you or texts you or whatever, reaches out to you and is like, hey, I need your help. I'm not okay with this eating disorder. And just knowing that you got to the other side of it.
Yeah.
Like that alone lets her breathe out for a second.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a little bit of hope, right?
Yes.
It's just like with alcohol, right? Like, or sobriety. I could not believe when somebody would get up and pick up a 6-month chip. I was like, what?
Yeah.
How do you do that? Right. So it's the same with anything else, really, truly. It ends up being the greatest gift,
Yeah.
But not when you're on your knees about it.
Yeah. It was I don't know. It was just in the beginning, it was so confusing because I didn't even understand that I was becoming chronically ill. And I will say too, then also, like, if you look at the data on things and you listen to physicians, experts, whatever, functional medicine experts with this stuff, they all say that the people that believe that they can heal, they're the people who heal. And so that being said, if you hear me talk about this autoimmune diagnosis, I don't identify with it. And that's my choice. And I'm obviously not a medical professional and I'm not giving medical advice to others. But those are things I've heard from them that I've chosen to cling to. I don't identify with any of this. I've gone through a season of chronic illness. I'm not chronically ill. Like, that's not who I am.
Right.
This is just something that I'm having to walk through, and I will come out the other side of, and that's what I believe. And I'm going to continue to choose to believe that. And like so thoroughly that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
So the path is unclear. I mean, hey, it was last April when I had a nasty flare up and I had to hire a functional medicine team. And that was a hard choice for me because that was a big expense. And I was really trying to avoid that, thinking I'm a fitness or I'm a nutrition. I could figure this out on my own. I needed help. And so I got that help. And then here I am right now I had a recent flare up that was nasty enough that now I've started to work with some different people and get some different information. And we're just piecing it together and continuing to try, but we're learning along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love your courage. I love your, the way that we're just not victims to life today.
No,
we get to, and not over identifying with something. This is not who I am. This is just what's happening and what I'm walking through currently. And I absolutely believe it's not going to be my experience.
Yep.
Forever,
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's everything. It really is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. It makes me think too, as soon as you said that, and this is something I don't like, you hear people say like, why do you still call yourself an alcoholic if you're sober,
Uh-huh.
And that one's one that I enjoy attaching my identity to that one today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like that was the pivot point for the takeoff point for my life.
Yeah.
That was a reborn moment, And so then I also think that saying it in that way holds power, and it kind of makes people do a double take of like, and so then right. And so then, and like, that's like, that somebody that they tell somebody, or then for them, they're able to be honest about whatever they're going through, or they're able to get a resource for a loved one of their own, or you know what I mean? And so like, for that reason, I'm like, happily, I'll wear that hat all day. Cause then maybe that'll create a connection that could be just that resource that someone needs to make that kind of shift in their life. So I do attach my identity to that. I was just, as you're saying, I'm like, I do on that one, but it's got a good purpose behind it.
Yeah. And I think part of it too is like, that's one that we can't really step too far away from, because we know what happens. You know what I mean? If I even begin to forget that that's my truth, I don't want to find out where that goes, you know?
Right.
So,
yeah.
So, okay, let's talk about, you said your fiance now is maybe on his way to he'll definitely he'll definitely make it.
Yes,
Jimmy's such a character. I think so many people think this and feel this way when they see him or experience him. He is a character. Like he is, and I mean, what a perfect match. You guys are just so much fun and make fitness fun and possible. And so tell me about your journey with Jimmy. You guys met at a time in your life where, you know, I saw one of your posts where you were like, this is your sign to take the risk of going on a date when you don't feel ready, you know?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Oh my gosh, yeah. He's the coolest thing that's ever happened to me aside from getting sober. Like this, I would not be the person that would attract someone like him if I hadn't gotten sober, right? Mm-hmm. So there's definitely that. But I also wouldn't have been attracted to him because he's so steady and consistent and all these things that I was way too chaotic. So anyway, by the time that he and I met, I had been sober for a little over 2 years. And I had just gotten out of another relationship. So it was my first relationship in recovery that I had just gotten out of, right? Mm-hmm. And that was a huge moment for me to learn, right? Of all these different patterns that I carried that I didn't want to carry anymore. And so whenever I met Jimmy, I was fresh out of that. And I was really taking a look at the way that I had shown up in that and trying to go, okay, here's what I don't want to repeat because I want to show up differently, you know? Mm-hmm. And so here comes Jimmy into my life, and he's so cool. I call him an alien because I'm like, he's just an alien. Like he's not normal. So I met him at the gym. I photobombed a thing he was recording. He was coming to that gym to get my attention. But yeah. But I was like aloof to it. And then of course I see him videoing himself, and that was enough to get my attention, was seeing a video. And then I was like, whatever. Anyway. So then we started talking, and I actually I'd known from afar that he was like an athlete at a high level in some way, was a coach. I generally knew something about him through, I don't even know, social media, I guess. I don't know, but I don't really know. Anyway. And so being a professional in the fitness industry, it would be normal for me if I like in that situation to say, hey, would you want to train together sometime? Mm-hmm. And so I asked him if he wanted to, and he said yes. And so we trained together, and whenever we trained together, then he started to ask a bunch of questions about me, and of course, both ways. Mm-hmm. And I just remember asking him as he was telling me all the different things he was doing. I was like, why are you doing all of this? Because his level of discipline is off the charts, mm-hmm. and dedication to his goals and so on. And he said, to be a superhero to millions of kids. Mm-hmm. And it was one sentence, and it was so clear, and he made eye contact, and he meant it, and he didn't give a shit how I reacted. You know, if I had been like, oh, okay, good luck, you know, it didn't matter. Mm-hmm. He knew his bones, and that's what he was telling me, mm-hmm. you know? And so like, that was really cool. And now I've gotten to witness him live that out, and like the actions he takes that no one sees to be able to fulfill that today mm-hmm. is so cool. But anyway, so I meet him, and I'm like, well, this is a strange one. This is different. Mm-hmm. And another thing that was so different is he was genuinely curious about my past, and he wasn't judgmental. Like he asked a lot of questions to try to understand me, and then didn't judge me. And like we just talked about, some of that stuff's not real cute. So it can easily make somebody be like, yeah, no thanks. You know? Yeah, right. Especially if they don't relate, which he doesn't. Mm-hmm. He doesn't. Can count on both hands how many times he's drank in his life, probably. Mm-hmm. And I think he's been sober longer than I have. Yeah. You know, seriously. Yeah. Just, you know, never had a problem. So anyway, so he asked me not long after that. So we got to know one another, and we trained together a couple times. We enjoyed training together. So we did that a couple times, and we started to talk a little bit. I invited him. I was hosting my podcast at the time. I invited him on as a guest. And I remember he hit on me live, or not live, but on the podcast when it was being recorded. And I was like, but it was so subtle. Like whatever it was like, I was like, So I just tried to pretend it didn't happen. Anyway, shortly after that, he invited me to dinner. And in my mind, it was to celebrate something that he was doing. And so I was like thinking it was a group thing. And so I said yes. And then like shortly afterwards, I called him and I was like, did you just invite me to just the two of us? And then to dinner? And he was like, yes. And I was just like, okay, I think maybe I can do that, but you have to promise not to make a move. You can't do anything because otherwise I can't go, because I was like, or I think I said, is this a date? Like, are you asking me on a date? And he said, I'm not going to tell you I'm not interested. That's not true. Yes, I'm interested, but I don't have intentions to do anything other than enjoy a meal with someone that I'm interested in. And so like, I could do that. And so then this has nothing to do with him because he's shown up obviously in a very respectable, like he's just been the best the whole time. But I wanted to break my own patterns. And so I said things when we first started dating, like, don't make a move ever. Let me make the first move on everything because I need to know, like, I just need to stop showing up in a way that I'd showed up in the past. And so it's a combination of me taking different actions that looked like that and having patience and communicating with people and not trying to do it all by myself, And then also, he was patient and he respected the boundaries that I set and for the length of time that I set them, which was far longer than I had ever set any in the past. So yeah, I was scared too, but I knew with him, I couldn't miss out on that opportunity.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful I didn't.
Oh my God.
I know.
I know. I remember when you guys first started dating, you're like, I don't know. Like, it's so different. It's not what, it's not what I would typically go for. And it's not about anything except that there was a level of groundedness and consistency. And I think, I'm curious, did you have any, because typically, or at least for me, I'll speak for me, like I dated people there was a lot of like love bombing and inconsistency and intensity and all of these things that I thought I wanted, but I actually found out that I don't. There's something about being with somebody who's consistent, always going to show up the same way, that feels really grounding for my nervous system.
Yep.
But also the mind's like, what's going on? This is different, and wants to question the consistency and it not feeling so intense. Did you experience that?
I was so ready for things to look so different than they had before. I was so ready. And so this was certainly different, but it was in all the ways that I wanted it to be, And so that's not to say that either one of us are perfect. We're not, I mean, and initially it was really hard because we do have such different backgrounds. And so trying to understand one another to the best of our abilities and respect those differences and stuff. I mean, there's been a journey with that, but also like he helped me get to know myself better than I had before as a result of trying to help him understand me.
Yeah.
And yet again, sorry, but he takes the credit. I don't know. He's just the mature one here. I don't really know. but I will say, I mean, as far as like, if it was like the lack of turbulence, the whatever, like, I don't know. I was ready for that. And so,
I so relate to that.
Yeah, there just isn't, I can't say that there's like been questioning. Like this has just made so much sense on a, don't know how else to call it, but spiritual level the whole time.
Yes.
So does that mean that it's been perfect and easy? Like I said, no, we're human. But I have so much respect for him, and he has a relationship with God, and so do I. And so, and it's mutual respect from both of us, and this desire to be able to effectively communicate. And so it's always coming back to, we are a team, And so anyway, I don't know. I mean, it's just, no, this has felt like home from the jump, and all that other stuff felt crazy as hell.
Yeah, exhausting.
Yes, and scary. And
scary, unpredictable, exhausting, just a lot for my nervous system, a lot for my nervous system. I just remember feeling just really, and I couldn't put words to it, but I just felt like uneasy all the time. My nervous system was just uneasy, you know?
Yeah.
And so
I totally get it.
That is grounding all the time. You're just like, what the fuck?
It's so cool. You know, I don't worry about him. And another beautiful thing, of course, I have that role that we talked about earlier, the MC role, where I take off for 3, 4, 5 days straight. And those hours are long, you know, and it's a highly social role. And thankfully, like, I get to be with a partner today that just says, like, go shine your light, because that's what you're supposed to do.
Yes, girl.
I know. It's crazy because this is revolutionary to me, but like experiencing it, it's real, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think the other thing too is, you know, like my relationship with God always comes first, you know? And so like that, I think also, because whatever past patterns, like they still patterns of thinking or whatever, like it's not like they'll never come up.
Yeah.
But then I can always kind of like look to my North Star and be like, oh, it's okay. Like you're okay. You know?
That's what I meant earlier was like the thoughts still come, right?
Yeah.
They don't hijack me though. Yeah. It's just like, oh, that's interesting. And then this person just shows up consistently and you're like, oh.
Right.
Like, you know?
Yeah. We're
good. We're good.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah, we're chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy cool.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
So what's it like being the fiance of someone with a lifestyle like that and a life like that? I mean, I'll get like, sometimes I see you on Instagram and you're like in the ring pumping him up, or you'll like, just what's that like?
I don't know. Check back later. I'm new here. You know, I mean, really, he's been doing matches for just over a year and I've been along for the whole ride, but also we both do have. Yeah, he's only been doing matches for just over 1 year.
Oh.
Yeah, it was either December or January. Yeah, it's just over 1 year, whatever it is. And the other thing though too is he does do a lot of shows. I also travel and work on the weekends a lot. So I actually can't be there for a lot of his matches. And that's another really special thing, that in a perfect world, I would get to be there for all of his stuff, but he understands that I have a purpose too. And that like, he encourages me to go and pursue my passions and do that. Like we both do, you know what I mean? And so with him, when he needs to go be gone for a week or 2 weeks or whatever it is to fulfill his goals and fulfill his purpose, I'm like, that is exactly what you should be doing. And if that means I get less hours, but like the hours are fruitful, like we're good, you know, you are so purpose driven, and that is so attractive, and the same both ways. But yeah, when I do get to be there, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's definitely, I will say it's actually helped a lot with even my role in CrossFit, you know, as far as thankfully it's really infrequent, but like injuries happen, you know? And so in a competitive setting, there's a competition, say that I'm emceeing a competition with 2,000 competitors over the course of the weekend. Well, maybe one of them, you know, has some sort of minor injury on an event, right? And so like I used to be like, oh my gosh, you know, freak out. And these days, and that honestly doesn't even always, like there are many events where like, and it's everybody's Gucci, you know, but you get enough people together in a competitive setting. It's definitely, I will say, if you look at the data, it is significantly less risky, like injury wise, than many, many other training methodologies. It's actually very, very risk averse. So I will say that. And also we're talking about the sport side of it versus the methodology, which is not the same thing. If you're just training CrossFit, risk is ridiculously low, but we're talking about when people throw them in themselves in competitive settings. And even still, it's like, whatever. But anyway, say that something like that happens. I used to react like a lot. And now I'm just like, listen, if their spine is fine, if their brain is fine and their heart is fine, we're good. You know, like mind you, if you dislocated your shoulder, that sucks, but you're going to be fine, right? Like it does still suck, but you're all right. Like if you tore your ACL, yet again, that's a journey, but you're going to be fine. It's changed my perspective towards injuries a lot because they get hurt. It is real. It is so real. And so if you actually get to see under that, whatever the
blanket
or whatever, at the top. Yeah, if you get to see those wooden planks and everything underneath there, like it is no joke. So anyway, it's definitely, it's super fun. It's crazy. I had to learn what wrestling even is because it's storytelling and I was so confused. And so, but then I came to love it and I truly do love watching it. It's so fun. But yeah, I mean, I am engaged to a man that gets in the ring and throws his body against things constantly and gets things thrown at him constantly. And it is a lot. But it's really fun. And yet again, I take it back to the purpose thing. And his why is so big that if that means that he's, gets some bumps and bruises along the way, like, cool.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. It's fun.
So fun. You guys are so fun. I love watching your journey, and I'm excited to see what's next for you both. I know there's a potential option on the table, but what do you feel like is next for you? Do you have any are you just kind of in this space of letting things grow where they're at?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and so been a coach for a few years, been doing the online and in-person coaching for a few years. The last couple of years, I've been doing the MC thing. The CrossFit specific podcast, that's only within the last 7 months. So things have just been trending, what I would say more in alignment, which we talked about, and is like, I'm just so excited for your continued journey as well. But the newest role is the community growth role for WOD Prep. And so that's like, honestly, that's kind of got my attention captured right now because I have come into work for WOD Prep with some specific goals. And I'm really excited to work together with the team there to bring those to life because they are, what WOD Prep Academy is the thing that I work in. And it's skill courses and so on that are designed to get people from basically scaled to RX, to take them from wherever they are to wherever they want to go, get the skills, etc. And they are exceptional at it. The coaches are ridiculously good. The skill courses are so thorough. It's a great product and it's great people. And so I'm really excited to just like come alongside them and learn from them and work together with them to grow that. And so that's, I guess, like honestly, just the thing that's on my plate right now is continuing to do all of the other stuff, continuing to grow in the MC role, continuing to grow as a partner to Jimmy, because that is such an exciting opportunity for growth. Like I still am this naturally selfish creature, right? And so that's such a fun journey, leaning into, spiritual growth. What that looks like for me today is it's Bible study, but that's like, so anyway, there's a lot that I am really excited about at life. I don't know, healing from the mold, but yeah.
I love it.
Wait, can you say for you what you're excited about?
Yeah. So I am leaving my 9-to-5 job that I've been at for 9 years, which is a huge, massive risk.
Yeah.
And something that has been stirring in me for a while now. And I've just been afraid, like humans are, of the unknown and, a fear of failure. But the internal nudge and intuition got so loud that I couldn't ignore it anymore. So I am moving into the coaching world, life coaching, and I eventually want to facilitate like spiritual retreats, and that's kind of my realm, and so personal development and all of that. So I'm really excited to start to get to create and invest in that piece of my life and actually take a little bit of a sabbatical, let my system rest and drop into the feminine energy and creative flow. So really looking forward to that. It's I think from the outside, it's a massive risk, and it's something that I think a lot of people are afraid to step out into because it's not the logical decision to leave. I mean, I have a little nest, but I mean, money runs out, so it's a risk, and but I absolutely know God is guiding this whole ship, and so I'm just really excited to push myself beyond my edges. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now what you said about the retreats too, just so you know, we can connect over it later, but I'd love to, or like I'll send it to you. But there's a company that really specializes in different community leaders curating these retreats. That's like, this is what they do, and they're really good at it. And I have friends that have been doing it for years. Anyway, and so I'll send you that company because they do really good work. And so if that's something that's even on the near horizon for you, then I'd love for you to connect with them and see if that's a good fit.
Yeah. Any
Yeah.
resources you have, send them my way.
Yeah.
I'm totally open, and we're actually hosting a little trial run women's retreat this weekend. Yeah, it's just a very small. There's 8 of us. We rented an Airbnb, and we're just gonna get some feels for what that experience is like in real time.
Okay.
And go from there. So we're really just looking forward to this chapter for me, this next chapter. The word, this is a question I have for you actually, and then I'll answer it. What is your word for the year?
I said for last year, my word was alignment, because that was where I was I was coming back to alignment.
Mm-hmm.
And that does still really resonate. I almost feel like the word for the year is like almost at the end of the year, I can reflect back and see what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But if I were to have to give this year, God, there are words that are like coming up that I'm really like, I like that a lot. And I don't know if I want to give it that.
The word can change too, but what feels right for you in this moment?
Yeah. Something spiritual. Like this year is about spiritual growth.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Because that is any amount of energy I'm willing to dump towards that, which I've got so much room for growth there. My gosh, we all do forever, but like, boom, I certainly do. That's only going to make the rest of life better.
Yeah.
So that sounds like a good one. We'll go with
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Okay, what about you?
My word for this next year is magic.
I think I saw that somewhere. Did you hear that anywhere?
Maybe.
Okay.
I do. Like I said in our conversation before we started, or actually it was in this conversation where it's like I've looked at people's lives and been like, they're the lucky ones, and I'm claiming that like I'm the lucky one, and this year gets to feel like magic. It gets to feel like receiving and allowing rather than straining and pushing and having to work so hard to receive. I get to receive and allow without the hard work, and receive grace and magic. So
here's this one. If you've heard it before, I'm sorry, but I heard it recently from an old timer and it was amazing. And he just said, someone who's been in recovery for a long time anyway, he said, it was one day at a time at first because I was just holding on. And today it's still one day at a time because I'm just letting go.
Yes. Yep. That's where I'm at. The unknown. I'm excited for the unknown. I'm ready for it. Let's see what happens, because it's going to be a ride. The life that we've been given, how could it not be extraordinary?
No, it's crazy. Yes.
It's going to continue to be.
Yep. And you said, the lucky ones, and I definitely like, we are just so blessed.
Yeah.
Like we got sober. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you started to like dive into your passions, and here you are really, we'll call it magic, but like having already your start of the year, it sounds like the end of your last year into the start of this year is very much so. It sounds like it's exactly that.
Yeah.
And that's really exciting.
Yeah. Claire, where can we find you? Where can people find you?
Yeah, I'd say probably the easiest place to connect is on Instagram. And so that's just my name, @ClaireBays, ClaireBays. And so that's where I try to update consistently. I run a mile every day. That's one of the things I do there because it seems to be this really fun, cool thing. And hey, you want the walls to not close in on you, commit to a mile every day, and they just can't, So anyway, I do that there. People are always welcome. That's like a free thing, and people can join little groups for that anytime. They could just send me a DM. But yeah, and then if you're into hearing me nerd out with some friends about CrossFit, then I do a show twice a week on the WOD Prep, WODPREP channel on YouTube, and we just go real deep on all things CrossFit.
I love it.
And I have a great time.
I love it. I love it because it's something you're passionate about.
Oh, I'm so obsessed. It's obnoxious. Yeah.
No, it's beautiful. Well, girl, I just love you so much. And I'm so grateful we got to catch up, even if it was through a podcast, but hey, that's life, life gets so big and beautiful. One of the many gifts of sobriety. And so if this is the capacity I get to experience a little sprinkle of Claire, I'm here for it. So
all of that exactly back at you. You and I have had this, this thing where you and I both know we know that every time we're around one another, we just really enjoy that experience. Yeah. And we both do have very full lives, Yeah. And so anyway, I appreciate the grace on that. And then also just the opportunity to be here with you on your thing. And I mean, it's like a selfish way to spend time with you, but I hope that, I'm just so excited to see what this next season looks like for you.
Yes, and you too. I'm going to be cheering you on Instagram. I'll shoot you a text and just be like, hey, just in case you didn't see my my heart on your post. I'm so
yes, please. Yeah. And maybe the theme of the year should just be like put your seatbelt on, because I feel like we're about to go for a ride.
Yeah. You may be living in Orlando soon.
Literally, which will be so crazy. Yeah.
I know. Well, as always, it's such a pleasure to be in a space with you, and thank you so much for your time. Yeah, I'm excited to see what's next.
Yeah, thank you for your time, and for anybody who chose to stick around and consume this, you better be supporting Danielle. But if you're not, and thank you for choosing to be here too.
May the cord that binds us to one another and to Source remind you that you are never alone, always guided, and always home. Until next time.